Well, I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that today is my birthday. The bad news is I have to watch and review Jason X. But it's okay, I'm not gonna let this movie ruin my day.
Oh, somebody kill me, please!
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my look at the Friday the 13th franchise. Today, Jason continues his vacation trips, this time in space, in Jason X. Jason Goes to Hell did not end up being the big revival Sean Cunningham and New Line wanted it to be. It became the second lowest grossing in the franchise, and the reception wasn't great thanks to twisting Jason's origins. However, it seemed that most were in agreement that the ending with Freddy's claw dragging down Jason's mask to hell got them excited. Only problem was that getting Freddy vs. Jason made was turning into a fiasco. It was stuck in development hell for the remainder of the 90s, so once again, Sean wanted to make another film to keep fans interested in the Jason character in the meantime. However, they didn't want to make anything that could interfere with a Freddy vs. Jason film. After throwing around ideas, Todd Farmer jokingly said, "Hey, why don't we just send him off to space?"
Oh my god.
So, in 1999, production began on Jason X, with Farmer writing, James Isaac directing, and Kane Hodder returning for his final portrayal of Jason Voorhees. The film sat on the shelf after completion for almost 2 years until it was released in 2002, but by that time it became one of the most pirated films on the internet thanks to a leak. Not surprising, because who would want to pay money to see Jason in space? It's the place where all horror icons go to die. Hellraiser, Leprechaun, the Muppets. But would Jason be able to survive his departure from Earth? Let's find out. The film opens up with what looks like hell, but turns out to be the inside of Jason's head. The year is 2010, and the government has captured Jason and placed him in the Crystal Lake Research Facility. Really? A whole facility just for Crystal Lake? Is it just for Jason, or are they hiding other crazy things in there? Bigfoot? The Loch Ness Monster? O.J. Simpson? Whatever, we get a look at Jason chained up, and I don't understand or like this look. He's got long, scraggly hair, his hockey mask looks too small, and it has this weird flatness at the nose. And he no longer looks like a zombie, but a human again. The guard feels the same as I do, and covers Jason in a blanket so he doesn't have to look at him. Rowan encounters Dr. Weimer, played by David Cronenberg, and the two debate on freezing Jason, but Weimer says that they want to do more studies on him thanks to his unique ability to regenerate. So now he can regenerate his body. Add that to his teleportation powers.
Get that rag off him. What the hell?
Gasp. I never would have guessed. So Jason disposes of all the guards and Dr. Weimer. By David Cronenberg. Rowan manages to lure Jason into the cryogenic chamber where she locks him in. But apparently his machete is strong enough to pierce through metal.
Cryogenic breach. Emergency lockdown.
Wish we could just end it here, but 445 years later, a group of students, led by Professor Lowe, investigate the facility. Sonoran, Janessa, Azrael, and android KM-14 locate a frozen Jason, baffled by the strange-looking man.
What's a hockey mask?
Facial armor. Used in a sport outlawed in 2024.
They also find Rowan, but believe they can revive her, so they decide to move both bodies to their shuttle and eventually get them to their main ship, the Grendel. We see a bunch of other people are on board, including military for some reason. Professor Lowe asks Adrian to take Kinsa and Stoney and perform an autopsy on Jason's body with them while the others revive Rowan. Christ, there are far too many characters to remember and they all have ridiculous names. Here's a shocker for you. This is my least favorite cast because everyone is so unmemorable or annoying, except for one guy I'll mention later. The crew displays the use of nanotechnology. They're ants. They're just little robot ants. To bring Rowan back to life.
Vital signs are normal and strong.
No shit.
They let her know she's in the year 2455, but she's more concerned about Jason and making sure he's dead, which Lowe assures her he is. Cut to Lowe then having a conversation with his financial guy, Perez, telling him he found 2 bodies over 400 years old and they could be worth some money.
I don't give a fuck.
Perez says bringing people back to life is old news, but recognizes the name Voorhees, saying he could be worth a fortune since he was a notorious serial killer that racked up 200 kills. Apparently Jason's legacy lasted 445 years, but the facts got skewed along the way because I can tell that body count number of 200 was pulled right out of his ass. Back at the lab, Adrian has dismissed Kinsa and Stoney, who are now having sex. It's as if Jason can sense the lewd act going on, and the rage wakes him up, ready to kill again.
Oh shit, that's bad.
Yes, she died very violently, sir.
Alright, that's fucking awesome. If you can't tell already, I'm not a fan of the movie, but this is such a creative kill that I can't ignore it. Freezing someone's head in liquid nitrogen, then proceeding to smash it into pieces? Instantly, a top 10 kill for Jason. This is absolutely the most brilliant thing the movie has to offer. Strap in, cause this is about as positive as I'm gonna get. Cut to Lo trying to comfort Rowan and telling her soon they'll arrive at her new home, Earth 2. Wow, A+ writing on that one. How long did it take you to think of that? Rowan explains how she worked at the Crystal Lake Research Facility, and that they experimented with many different ways to kill Jason, but nothing worked. The plan was to freeze him and lock him away, but the government decided he was too valuable to get rid of.
In the end, it always comes down to money.
Subtle jab at the franchise. Real subtle. She finds out that the crew brought Jason on board and wants to see him, but they discover Adrian's dead body. At the same time, Stoney is stabbed after leaving Kinsa, who somehow escaped and rejoined the group. Cut to Ezreal, fucking stupid name, who's playing a virtual reality game with Dallas. Like the guy from Alien, do you get it? Jason shows up and kills them both, but they're fine since it's virtual reality. But the second they get back to the real world, there's no coming back. With all these dead bodies popping up, Sergeant Brodsky, the only good character in this godforsaken movie, assembles his military crew, Sven, Condor, Gecko, Kicker, and Briggs, to hunt Jason. Like the movie Aliens! Do you get it? Jason almost kills the ship's tech guy, Crutch, but the commando crew arrives and opens fire. Jason somehow escaped that barrage of bullets, and the group splits up to find him. You know this can only lead to every one of them getting picked off. Sven has his neck snapped, Gecko has her throat slit, and Condor lands on a giant screw. I guess you could say...
He's screwed.
Kicker finds Jason and actually gets him onto a giant hook. The celebration is short-lived as Jason removes himself from the hook and cuts Kicker in half. And at some point, Jason put Briggs on the hook, leaving Brodsky by himself before he's caught by Jason.
It's gonna take more than a poke in the ribs to put down this old dog. Yeah. That ought to do it.
The kid's only line of defense has been easily killed off, but they're approaching the space station Solaris. They're about to land, but Jason kills the pilot, and the Grendel crashes into and destroys Solaris. Like in the movie Aliens, do you get? Solaris just fucking explodes, but the Grendel keeps trucking along. Everyone is grouped into one room that Jason smashed through to get into, and they all flee except for Professor Lo. He offers to make Jason rich, but Jason is more interested in getting back his original machete.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
The survivors used the bright idea the soldiers had and split up. Sunaron goes over the probability of their survival with KM, which is pretty low. But after a makeout session with the android, she informs him that the odds have now increased. Oh, yeah, these two are like supposed to be a thing or whatever. Totally not sad for Sunaron. Stupid fucking name. Kinsa and Janessa try to get the escape pod ready while Rowan finds Sergeant Brodsky alive. Yay! Waylander leaves Crutch to make the pilot repairs so he can help Rowan assist Brodsky, who somehow disappeared from Rowan's sight in that time. Lo and behold, Crutch is killed after being left alone, and after having a breakdown, Kinsa inadvertently kills herself after trying to escape in the pod. Jason then corners Rowan, Janessa, and Waylander, but Sunaron shows up with KM, who has now been upgraded to Dominatrix. Oh, thank God. No, she's fine and proceeds to beat the ever-loving shit out of Jason. She shoots the hell out of him and blows off his arm, leg, and part of his torso before... So everybody thinks they're okay, and Brodsky has been all healed up. A patrol shuttle contacts them saying they received their distress signal and can be there in 30 minutes. But the group has to do some shit like blow up a bridge on the ship so that they can last until help arrives. But in the room where Jason was killed, the little micro ants are activated through plot convenience and start to rebuild him, and he returns as the group is setting the explosives.
Holy fuck, that's bad.
This is Uber Jason. He's bigger, stronger, contains 50% more metal, and can drive you home when you're too drunk to drive. This look is certainly better than what we've had for the majority of the movie. The metal mask is cool, and I like the extremely red eyes, but it's still ridiculous. He looks like Shredder from Ninja Turtles, and Lord Zed from Power Rangers had a love child. He's able to punch off KM's head, and everyone escapes except Waylander, who sets off the detonator so both of them are caught in the bridge blast. But Jason punches a hole from the outside, causing everything in the room to be sucked out, including Janessa. The quickest review of this fucking movie. Rowan, Brodsky, Sonoran, and KM's head make it to the evacuation door where the patrol team has arrived, but the door is jammed. Brodsky volunteers to fix it from the outside while Sonoran and KM work on a distraction for Jason.
You want a beer?
Or do you want to smoke some pot?
People love the sleeping bag kills here. Part 7 did it better. The only time I'll ever say that. Rowan, Sonoran, and KM make it to the patrol ship as Jason escapes the virtual reality, but Brodsky shuts the door on him so he can't reach them. They charge at each other the moment the Grendel explodes. Jason should finally be dead, but
He's coming this way.
you gotta be kidding me.
You've got to be kidding me. Brodsky.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's terrible, Jack. What kind of deranged Wile E. Coyote shit is that?
My overall thoughts on Jason X. It's the worst in the series for me. The very thought of Jason Voorhees in space always makes me cringe. You try to take him out of his natural environment and you're in for disaster. Just look at Manhattan. There are a lot of people who love this one because, it's something different and so absurd that it's fun. I can't disagree more with that train of thought. Jason Goes to Hell tried something different and you all shit on that. I don't understand those that have fun with it or find it funny. Part 3 is a better definition of fun. It's silly, but excellent kills and a fantastic final act make it genuinely fun. Jason X drags badly, and I'm bored to tears watching it. Also, if it's funny you're looking for, Part 6 is a million times better. Jason Lives has clever writing and likable characters, more so than this turd. There are far too many characters here, they all have ridiculous names, and their acting is horrendous. The sets come off as cheap, like I'm in an episode of Star Trek. The CGI has aged horribly. It's totally a product of its time in the late 90s, early 2000s. And shockingly, the music is really bad, even though it was done by Harry Manfredini. It's like I'm watching one of those awful Sci-Fi Channel or straight-to-video movies. I'm sure there are some of you out there that say, oh, the cheesiness of the whole thing is what makes it fun. All the other movies are cheesy and you didn't bash them. I'm able to admit the franchise is hokey, but I have a soft spot for that old 80s feel, and those early movies had charm. Jason X feels soulless. You can tell they really wanted to be something like Alien, but they fell right on their face because that movie had actual suspense, genuine scares, memorable characters, and good fucking effects. And that movie was made in 1979. Fuck, I should be watching that instead. Jason is an absolute joke here. His design isn't Manhattan bad, but holy shit, the mask is dumb, and now he has more of a human appearance as opposed to zombie. And Uber Jason? I remember thinking it looked cool when I was like 10 years old, but when you're an adult and you see this robot-looking Jason emerge from the smoke, it's laughably bad. The only things that I like are the liquid nitrogen face smash, which is admittedly a top 10 kill, and Sergeant Brodsky. Brodsky is a badass, but he does spend a lot of the time being injured and playing second fiddle to the teens and Rowan. Speaking of which, if Rowan is considered a final girl, she's easily my least favorite. She leaves no impression other than being like a female Crazy Ralph. Some of you are probably shocked this is my most hated in the franchise because I'm not totally ripping it to shreds like I did with Manhattan. At least Part 8 had some of that Paramount appeal despite being hair-tearingly bad. I've probably watched Jason X in its entirety 4 times. It is just such a boring, bad movie that it's not worth my time getting all riled up and screaming about. The concept is dumb, tedious, and poorly executed with shitty acting, forgettable characters, and dated special effects. I give Jason X half a rocket ship out of 5. but let me know your thoughts. Are you really one of those people that finds this movie fun? Do you think it doesn't deserve to be the lowest in my personal franchise ranking? And I know your favorite kill is the face smash, so I don't know, try to convince me the movie isn't as bad as I think it is. Don't forget to subscribe and follow my Twitter down in the link below. Next week, we finally get to the showdown we waited decades for with Freddy vs. Jason. Until next time, peace.